In this world of uncertainties, do you have any questions about career, parenthood, love, or life in general? You are in the right place. This is a digital love letter to oneself, and I'm inviting you to take this journey with me as we seek answers to our questions. This is Dear Self with me, Aileen, a mother, a daughter, and a nurse, and I'm publishing weekly. And let's continue our journey with our new topic this week. Let's start! My grandparents were all pastors. I grew up in a family where being active in church is a must. One of my grandfathers wants us to sit in front of the church every Sunday where he would preach, and he is the head pastor. Good evening, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Dear Self with me, Aileen. And tonight, I'll be more personal with another episode, and I'll be sharing with you my spiritual journey. My grandparents knew each other. They are both pastors, and they betrothed my parents. But nothing to worry about that, guys. My parents fell in love, and the rest is history. And my father and mother were active in church. They always imparted to me the importance of knowing God. For me, I knew God when I was in third grade. My mother, she had me pray the sinner's prayer, and I was water baptized when I was in high school, and that was my start. That was the start of my journey with God. At one point even, I thought I wanted to be a pastor. I heard a calling, but thinking about it now, I think that calling was meant for me to be a nurse instead of a pastor. Well, if you ask me, was it easy? Because my parents are both Christ followers and my grandparents as well. I struggled with my journey all the more. I always thought that it is more of a disadvantage rather than an advantage to grow up in a family where you are all Christ followers. Because at one point in your life or one point in your journey, you would feel like everything you do in the church is mere obligation to the family. Or whenever you do something in church, is like more of a responsibility rather than out of your own will. And that has been my struggle when I was growing up. I lived a life that revolves around church, and I have no other comparison. I struggled because I find it difficult to be wearing Sunday's best or waking up early on Sunday morning because you have so many things to do. And I really just didn't like Sundays when I was younger. My mother, who is I believe one of the prayerful women that I know, is that she would pray for people I know and I don't know until late in the evening when we do our family devotion. Every time she would finish the devotion, and she would look at me, and when she would see me or caught me just staring blankly at the ceiling, she would know that I didn't pray with her. And she would always say to me, this is her line verbatim, magunsa na lang kaha ka og mga wala nami, makabalo pa ba kaha kamo ampo, makabalo pa ba kaha kamo simba. That's her line every time, and it always stuck in my head but not in my heart. I didn't take it seriously. I didn't take it to heart. And sometimes when you are a pastor's grandchild, they would expect you that you would know how to pray. But I when I was younger, I don't know, or I won't, or I can't pray in public. It's because I feel too shy or I feel unworthy. And I know I have a personal connection with God, but I think I was too distracted being a teenager, and I thought there are more important things in life than nurturing your spiritual life. Well, we can say that my spiritual journey is intermittent. It was on and off. More likely on whenever I'm broken or I'm brokenhearted or when I'm sad, but off whenever things go well and things go according to my plan. And my mother would always remind me that a relationship with God is like a relationship with your parents. You, like example, do you only ask for your parents, or do you only speak to your parents whenever you needed something? Or do you ask random people for your baon to school? Of course not. You do that with your parents, and you speak to them on a daily basis. You see them, you talk to them, sometimes you don't speak to them, but at least you know that they're there. Well, we should have a relationship. Well, according to Oxford Dictionary, I look it in Google. Relationship is defined as the way in which two or more people or things are connected, or the state of being connected. We may forget about God, but surely He never loses His sight of His people. When I was in uni, or when I studied in college, I fell in love with God all the more. I studied in Mindanao State University, and they said that you would major on your course, and then you would minor with missions, because you would learn how to love, or you would have a closer walk with God when you study in MSU. And it is true for me. I fell in love with God all the more, and I had a different journey. I had a mentor, and we have to see our mentor once a week, and I did just that on my first year. And when my schedule started to be more hectic, I was studying nursing, and I prioritized my studies over anything else. And I believe that if there is something planted in our hearts, it will always find its way to grow. I've been in ministries where my parents go. Even after we moved, or we transferred ministries, I went with my parents. And when I graduated from college and went back home, I felt there's an empty space in my heart. I don't know what was it. I don't know. There's just something missing, or there's this thirst I couldn't quench. And I searched and searched, and then I found a community. We share the same beliefs. I've heard the things that I've heard before, and same as what I know of God and my faith. I've heard things that I heard before with my grandparents and my teaching. But one thing is that what the difference now is that I had a better understanding with God. Understanding that I have a different perspective with God's love. It taught me humility, faithfulness, and trusting God. Well, to be honest, if you're one of the grandchildren of a household name in our church before, it's hard to admit, but sometimes you get to be more boastful. You're a bit too proud, and you would think to yourself that I already know that. Kabalon ako, ana. You don't have to tell me because I know that already. But truth be told, a spiritual journey is an individual journey. It's between you and God. And that's one thing I've learned about when I grew older. That's one thing I've learned, is that knowing God is teach you how to be humble, to be faithful, and to be trusting God. But that is still an ongoing struggle. I'm not saying that I'm the most humble person you would know. I wouldn't say that I'm the most faithful person that you would know. But in my heart, I know that that should be my characteristics as a Christ follower. There are so many things running through my mind, and I feel like there's so many things that needs to be done in my life. And when I became a mother, it made sense. Everything made sense. I've read in a book that it says that motherhood is a spiritual awakening, and it is easy to waste your life, but stakes are higher when you have a child. When I became a mother, it was a game changer. It was an eye-opening into my spiritual journey. Before I became a mother, I didn't take it seriously. Although I was starting to understand the will of the Lord in my life, but when I became a mother, it was a game changer. Nothing is much more clearer than what I should do, and everything made sense that never made sense before. And this time when I became a mother, there's also the few things that I now understand what I needed to do. The missing part between before and now is that before I didn't have the intention, but now I try my best to be more to have more intentions in the things that I do. Like, for example, it helps to have a community who supports you, mentor you, and most especially correct us. It is true that religion won't save us, but it is important that we seek a community where we are spiritually satisfied. It is an oasis in the desert. It's like we are wandering in the desert far too long that we thirst. I feel like more being intentional in being a part of a community because we are accountable with each other. Although our journey is ours individually, but we are accountable in encouraging one another, in helping out in this journey, and to correct each other in this journey. And second is, before that is that it helps us to grow spiritually, and it is not enough that you go to church every Sunday, but be intentional in being a part of a community. I knew God. I prayed and I sing praises and go to church every Sunday whenever I can. And but now I became more intentional in building a closer relationship with God, establish a closer walk and a closer connection with my Savior. And I try my best to listen to His Word and live by and with it and journey with it day to day. But to tell you the truth, this is very hard. This is like a laborious and a Herculean task because it is a struggle. And whenever you desire day by day, sometimes our emotion gets the best of us. And that happens to me all the time. Emotion always gets the best of me. And sometimes when I deal with difficult people, my heart would betray me. My mouth would betray me, and it would grow hatred. Hatred would grow in my heart, and it would express in my mouth, and I would utter words meant to hurt people. It's like the abundance of your heart speaketh the mouth. So when I am full of hatred, my mouth would just blurt with words that meant to hurt other people. And this is a struggle. I pray every day, like David's prayer in Psalms, that he said that, Lord, guard my mouth that I might not sin against thee. And that is my prayer every day, and it's in my journey. And see, there is a research done in 2019. I've heard this one in what book was it? Well, I'll reference it later on. That in 2019 in US, that nearly 2/3 of people who claim a legacy of faith credited their mother and 1/3 their grandmother. Us mothers have an opportunity or a chance to be a model of faith. Well, I am not perfect. I am far from perfect, but He or God makes things perfect in His own purpose, and I'm glad I'm in this journey. And life seems difficult, and it makes more difficult if you are raising a child. And I feel like I'm responsible for the life of my child, that I wanted to show her what it's like to walk with God. And at the same time, I don't want her to feel as if I am forcing her, but instead I want her to journey on her own with a reflection of my journey to guide her. I wanted to be a role model to my daughter. It's difficult when there's two sets of eyes staring at you and scrutinizing everything that you do. And aside from securing a brighter future for my child, my desire is to provide opportunities for my daughter to have a closer walk with God. And I'm just very happy that I have this opportunity to walk with God and journey with Him. And as I've said earlier, it is a wonderful thing, although it is a struggle, but living a life with God is giving you satisfaction. And I always post in my Facebook page about how good God is in my life, but it is a struggle. It is a day-to-day intention to make sure that you walk according to God's will. And let us enjoy our walk. Walking with God is not a sprint anyway, it's a marathon. And let's enjoy this marathon, and let's encourage one another to press on. And if you want to share something as well on your spiritual journey, you can go ahead and message me in my Instagram account. That's me_alienated, and as well as in my Facebook account, that is Aileen Frances. And that's it, guys. I hope you have something to pick out or something to be encouraged of with my spiritual journey, and hopefully I get to hear from you soon. And thank you so much, and Happy New Year.